Hello people, and welcome back to part 18 of Egginburgh County, our Cities Skylines 2 build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And thank you for all the support last week on our road network frame for the town of Bourbon. It turned out really nicely, didn't it? And there's a few comments about our Jersey left intersection. Apparently it's not quite configured correctly, but to be honest, it's kind of working nicely as it is. So I think we're going to call it the Jegsy left, maybe? Because it seems to be working in the configuration we have it. So I think we'll call it the Jegsy left and just go from there. But we'll definitely explore some more American intersections as we go forward. But today I want to turn my attention to very much of a modular build. The transport hub for Bourbon, which is going to encompass trams, buses, train and a harbour. So we'll kind of work on this whole segment here today. And we have also installed some mods from the Thunderstore because can't do it without my line tool anymore. Really need my line tool. So we're also playing with tree controller so we can control the age of the trees and of course the line tool, and we've also got a little bit of first person camera as well should we wish to enjoy the sights and sounds of Egginburgh, and of course we can. But apart from that, we won't go too modded. It's basically the build guide mod list. Let's turn our attention towards building a transport hub. So this place out here is insanely busy, but I'd like to kind of reconfigure how all of this flows. So I'm going to tear it out for right now. My initial vision here is everything is going to formulate around a pedestrian road that we have coming out of the middle here. So let's grab that first of all, and I want to bring this, let's have a little look-see here. So we'd love to have it lined up directly at the front of the train station there, and then we'll come back into cell length and geometry snapping. So let's go for a 48 meter stretch of pedestrian road, and I'll probably feed this back down toward this street over here. So let's come out from this way, and then we can connect those up. So this will be a nice big kind of pedestrian arterial, if you like, coming up to the train station and beyond. And it's sloped too steep down there, isn't it? But we'll worry about that park in a bit. So the trams are going to come up here as well. So I want to add tram lines onto this bit of pedestrian street. So let's grab our trams and we'll have them here, not all the way up though, because I do want them to split off and kind of converge with some bus things we're going to do over this side as well. So we will have our trams leave the pedestrian road about here. So let's configure our tram stop first of all. Let's go for, that's maybe a little bit longer than that, give ourselves a bit more breathing room. Use the grid snappings off the pedestrian road for this. We'll do 40 meters. So there's going to be two tram lines converging here. There's going to be the Bourbon tram, which goes further down, possibly eventually converging with Inverness, and then the Whiskey trams coming over the bridge. So we need to make sure there's room for two trams to sort of stop and come in here. So we'll make this one tram line. It's also 205 road guideline here as well. And then we'll do another one here, I think. And then we can have our two stops. We'll have them hopefully next door to each other. We'll have one there and then one there. And then let's go ahead and grab these roads. We'll do a couple little 8 meter curves here and then loop it back on itself. And then just increase those measurements by 2. We'll do 16 curves, or 16 meter curves rather. And feed them along that side there. And then I'd like them both to rejoin the tram lane at that point there, which hopefully isn't going to be too bad. We can then remove the tram functionality from this point, which is fine. And then also we can now feed this one in 180 degrees, rotate its direction, and then we can remove that one from there. And that does give us a completed tram loop, I think. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, not forgetting to actually hook in this one-way loop as well, which will go... Curve is too tight apparently, is it really? So that should be pretty fun. We've now got one tram stop in here, which we did have, of course, this one here. So that is the Bourbon tram, which is the blue one. So we can now let that play again, and we can also remove the tram roads from that bit of road there, and we might as well make that median extend down as well, hadn't we? Let's upgrade that section there and add those trees back to it as well. I'm also considering playing with the road tools upgrade mod as well, but I don't want to make Egginburgh too modded. I just want those quality of life improvements that we play within the build guide really. So let me know if you'd like to see road tools upgrade. It just Just stop us messing about with all those keys, because there are an awful lot of them. So we get people stop here, and then they're all walking back up to the train station in various places. Although they did all just walk down there so they could cross the road. That is not what we want them to do. So I reckon we'll hopefully connect some of these together with some pedestrian pathway. Yeah, that path's going to take a lot of people off there. And then I reckon we'll also have one from here connecting that district up as well. And I guess they can also cross in the middle if they wish. That's going to form as a weird little bridge segment there. We don't want that to happen, so let's just redraw so it doesn't. Cool. I think I'm pretty happy with that as our tram configuration. Let's now plan in exactly where that next tram system is going to come down from. So I envision it coming right the way down Main Street, Bourbon. We'll have our tram system. It's going to come through all these suburbs here. Now, do we want to take it up to... We could bring it up to the Technical College, because there is buses here that are also heading back to Bourbon as well, which would give us a little bit more public transport convergence, which is always nice. Don't really want trams coming down this road because there's highway connections here, and this road can get quite busy, especially during the rush hours. So let's go for this way now. Do we want to come... Can trams tunnel? They can. Then we could bring the tram down onto the waterfront, couldn't we? Yeah, okay, I think we'll do that then. Let's feed these Bourbon trams right down to Inverness waterfront. We'll loop them around and then send them back. Cool, so that loops the tram road all the way down. We'll get them flowing in a second. We did a few comments last episode that we did place our harbour a little bit too high, which I certainly think we did. So we might just want to re-terraform how this road sits around here. Let's pick out a new height for that harbour to sit at. Let's go for... find a place where the water is stable. Maybe about here. Something like that, maybe. Might be a little bit more appropriate for... the harbour. Just rework all these roads as well. Everything else want a little bit of resloping, no problem. So that's a little bit more of a sensible height, isn't it? Let's go ahead now and get this tram loop fully completed. So it's going to pass by the harbour and obviously collect passengers there as well, which is another intercity connection for it alongside the trains. And then it's going to come... let's see, let's upgrade this one. Let's actually just splice it out of here. Something like that. So that road isn't enormously happy with that, is it? Let's do a right angle instead. So about to get the snow out, yes we are. And then we'll weave this through the park. We can make a nice kind of feature out of this. And then we'll have our tram crawl through the park and up into here, which hopefully isn't too steep. I know trams can go up some pretty steep hills. San Francisco as a prime example, of course. But that there is pretty gnarly, isn't it? That is quite steep, but it's just a big height differentiation. Might even want to just smoothen that out a tiny little bit. It's quite gnarly, that, isn't it? How about if we were to embank it out of the lane, just so it wasn't as initially nuts. So it's got like a little bit of an embankment on it. And then we'll weave it into the current existing infrastructure. So we'll do a complex curve for that. Let's go ahead and grab that guideline there. And we'll come back down to earth. And hopefully that's a little more tolerable. Yeah, I think it's having that embankment there in that section. It'll also make the networks a little bit more interesting as well, won't it? So we'll reverse that back up the hill. Change its direction. And super, that does complete another tram loop. Now we've got the stop here. How are we going to get it back down? Do you just want to have the trams continue on the main road? I guess so, don't we? Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. So this one just needs to be one-sided because it's not coming back up this way. Yeah, that completes it. It will stop, I guess, directly outside the harbour would be good. Then I wouldn't mind having it stop again in the park for people to meet up with the pathways. Cool. So that is a completed tram configuration. Let's go ahead now and get that line flowing. So it's going to stop at the hub. It's going to come down onto Main Street and complete its journey now down to Inverness. And really, this is probably going to be... That's then again, I guess the Whiskey line is quite long, isn't it? So probably the Whiskey line will remain the longest one in the city. So we fit it down here. It's going to stop at the waterfront in Inverness now. Back on this one. And then all the way down here. And one day we'll put schools down here as well, as the town of Bourbon continues to grow. Have that there, then it comes off into the one-way system, stops at the harbour, stops in the park, and then completes its loop up at Transport Hub. And we should see a tram. There it is. Wonderful news. Tram line. So this is the Whiskey. No, it's not. This is the Bourbon to Inverness service. And we'll make this a nice green colour. We never usually see a green tram, do we? Let's have some green trams. Fabulous. I'd love to get some more mixed-use zoning around here, actually. Let's come into our pathways. Can we amend this zone in here? Move it over a little bit? Yeah, so let's get some more mixed-use apartments in here. I'm happy for the larger ones to grow. I think, anyway. We'll wait and see. Cool. So they'll head off and around now. Is there any, do you want to upgrade one of the roads here? Just come down to a single lane on this side. Well, I guess, you know, this could be an American town that doesn't prioritise the car, maybe. Maybe we can be a bit of a pioneer in that regard, right? So let's grab those pathways again. Come back to existing geometry and angle. And we'll let this weave through the park. Stopping at pedestrian crossings and up to that tram stop as well. There's not a vast amount of people coming in via the harbour. One person. they only sold one ticket to Egginburgh. No one wants to visit, which is fine. They will one day. They will one day. Cool. So this is really what I wanted to see. These trams converging now at this point. Hopefully more people are going to be coming on and off of those, which is great. And we can place some trees here as well now, fully grown. Should we go for some pines? Let me know if you're interested as well in setting up the Thunderstore and its mods. We can make a video on it. There is already a few out there now, so I kind of feel it's a little bit redundant. But if you want a tutorial on how to set up modded CS, we can do one. Just let me know in the comments. The trams are now moving, which is wonderful. Now we also want buses as the secondary part of the transport hub. But there we go, it's some of our American mixed use. Not too bad. They are chunky boys, aren't they? Especially the American ones. They're a lot more blocky than the European stuff. Which I don't mind. I don't mind having them in. Anyway, buses. Let's just do some bus stuff. So we could place another large bus station, but I don't think that's really necessary. I don't think for here. I think we'll do a custom bus configuration that we've done with the trams. So let's go ahead and grab some bus lines. So it'd be cool if we could have it split off from here. So let's add bus lanes to this road. Can we add them to this one? They just go over the tram roads, don't they? Yeah, I don't think that's really necessary. And then again, we'll feed them all off into a one-way loop. So we can go off this way. And then we'll pretty much mirror the same thing here, if not for some slight amendments. So let's have a bus terminal here. Let's actually go the other way first. Let's do 48 meters. So we'll have a bus service arrive from Whiskey. We'll also have one run around Bourbon, and I guess maybe one into the little suburban hills of Inverness might also be welcome. So I think we'll do 3. That's a good idea, doesn't it? Let's bring in that entry road. We'll have this line up with the guideline of those ones we just placed, if we can hit it. And then we'll just set up some complex curves and hopefully relatively simple curves like this to set up the bus hub. Very nice. And then I reckon we'll mimic the same measurements as what we did with those trams. So we'll do 8 meters, then we'll do 16, and then we'll do 24. And then it should all connect back in like that, I think. And then we'll make this two-way as well on the way out. Yeah, that completes our bus plaza. Now, the shelters only go on the wide roads, don't they, which is fine. So we'll use the bus stop signs instead. We'll have 1, 2, and 3. And do we have bus capacity? We should do. Where is our bus hub? Over here, isn't it? 27 used. Yeah, we should be okay for that, I think. Maybe another bus hub needed around Bourbon, but we'll get to that if we need it. So let's set up one hub. So we'll have this one run through the hub. It can then come down onto the main street, and you just want to feed this in a single loop. Yeah, I think we will. Just have it as like a shuttle express. So we can go down to Whiskey Bus Station and then come straight back to Bourbon Transport Hub. Seems like a good idea. And then we'll have this next one, which we will go ahead and add our signs in for. So you can't turn left here, can you, due to the configuration of the intersection? Well, let's have a bus stop here then. People can get on and off of the park because it is quite busy around there. And then we'll have some stops on the way into this suburb over here. We'll have one there, can come back on its way out over that side. Stop by the school over here. And then this way. And then back up around the top, meet up with that one, and that should be a loop. So we'll set that one up. Let's have this line here. That's going to go down to this one. Hit these stops on the way through. Cool, and that comes back through there. Just have an achievement, having 20 active transport lines in the city. Wonderful. Fantastic. How do we feel about this tram going up the hill here? Does it look pretty cool? Are we happy with it? It's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad. Cool, so those buses will start moving around now. We'll do the same thing we did over here as well with some curvature around those pedestrian roads to get people in. Looks like we can just cut straight through there at the end. Also do that one there. And then we can make this connect back into the path network that crosses over the road. Perfect. We'll also do a connection from here as well. Cool. That is our major bus hub setup. Trams certainly the preference, aren't they? Well, there are some people starting to come toward the bus lines now. Choosing to take the one back to the suburbs of Inverness, which is nice. And of course this format here is just infinitely expandable. We can have more bus lines and different configurations. If we want to maybe set up like a shuttle bus to the airport, we can just add another bus loop onto here and send it off once that airport exists. Which, speaking of the airport, actually, I wouldn't mind just having a little look at it, just to sort of gauge the scale of it. Let's have a look at air here. So we'll grab that with some development points. And how are we looking for air? This airport I want. We're not going to put it in today because we'll make this its own build, but I just want to sort of get a sense of the scale of it here. It's going to be over this side of town. Maybe open up another tile for it. But it will definitely be part of Bourbon's transport network. But yeah, we'll build it out this way, I think. But we have it unlocked now as well. Fabulous. But that does seem to be the good chunk of the transport hub set up. So let's move to a detailed time lapse. We'll go ahead and get some bush lining, some more pathways. And I reckon I'll set up some path systems across the rail as well. Maybe loop some pathway back over here. And then do a little bit of zoning around here. Maybe drop some parks in as well. How's the way of doing that here? Do you want to add anything to this one? You can add an extra pier. Can we really? I guess we'll do that. And then there's a transit terminal, which is a bus station and taxi stand that allows to come from the harbour. Yeah, we'll go for that as well. I guess we can send some buses over here as well, can't we? Although it is a very short walk up this way. So maybe we'll use that as an extra bus hub. I guess we'll see. Either way, let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a look around Bourbon Transport Hub, shall we? So around the streets lining the train station, we just have some commercial and office zoning down here to help bring some people into the city and some demand. So we're starting to see that North American theme pay off now. Lots of car parking and sort of low-rise buildings, right, with that high-rise centre. Then we come into some pathwork here, which isn't too busy at the minute, but that's purely due to the fact there's nothing over this side of the town just yet. Nice to see people using the highway frontage now too to get in and out of Bourbon. Really love the system. It's that last episode. Definitely get lots of single family homes out here eventually as we come to keep building Bourbon. A little park configuration with some office, and that pathway does converge down here as well. But there is someone actually now beginning to take this pathway back up, which is nice. And then the main transport hub itself is all focused around these path networks, which have now been bush lined. And my goodness me, what a difference that tree controller mod makes, just being able to place fully grown trees. So good. Just absolutely missed it like crazy. Really makes a world of difference, doesn't it? And then we've got a little outdoor gym park placed within the bus configuration, and the buses are starting to get a little bit of use now. But by far and away, the busiest method of public transport here is the trams back to Whiskey, which you would expect because it is the larger, more populous town. There are more people coming and going from that general direction anyway. But yeah, you can see now it does start to back up onto the path sometimes, which is good. I like that they're doing that. They're not just kind of crowding the tram line. They are actually waiting to get onto those trams. We'll see them come in here now. And lots of people getting on and off, so really good to see that convergence starting to kick in now. And then they're all dispersing across the various path networks that all leave this place. You know, down to the waterfront or over to the park over there. And then it goes back on its journey. And the same with those buses as well, so really cute sort of custom transit design. Glad we went with the custom bus stops as well rather than doing the actual bus station asset itself. And so different configurations of this as well, and a lot of fun to do outside of a train station, and this is just constant. It just never stops. Train lines nice and busy as well, back into the outside connections and back to Inverness. Then the trams heading out of town. One of the buildings is on fire around this area here. Just started to form up a little bit of a town centre now, using some. You guys alright? You were waiting to waiting to post something? We're all stood by the post box. Oh my word! Oh no! Guys, Matt, we get out of the way. Are you okay? How many people died there? Quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. Quite a few has died there. Okay. So we do have a little town centre beginning to form now with lots of mixed use. Allowing those surfaces to paint out over these corners, which really does help in vanilla CS, doesn't it? When you have that kind of poor man's surface painter. And then we do have some towers over here. Did zone up some towers in the detail in time lapse, but didn't like the way it was looking, so we'll rethink these areas as Bourbon begins to spill out from its main town centre. Probably jump back into Google Earth for some inspiration for that. And then the big tram park over here as well, sitting opposite the harbour. It's quite nice, a little bit of commercial here. Not entirely sure what we're going to put down this waterfront here. We're playing with some pretty gnarly height differentiation, so I imagine we'll probably do some key work along here, maybe make a bit of a kind of greenbelt waterfront as a kind of opposite mirror to the very industrial sort of waterfront that Whiskey has around this part of the town here. I've also got to bear in mind all the air pollution that's blowing across the river here, so not really suitable for residential, this land. And I believe we have fertile land here as well. So eventually blend it out back out into farms as well at some point. Also dropped in a hospital just because we were getting quite a few health complaints in and around Bourbon. So now we have another major institute. Same thing with the police station. Wanted to get those larger assets in here while we're playing with a more American theme. Just kind of that bigger, chunkier infrastructure, if you like to reflect that. The Jegsy left interchange is still working really nicely, even with the trams coming through it now. You could watch this all day, couldn't you? Especially with the trains coming back in two and the trams underneath now, and people just flowing around the network quite nicely. So, it is working. Realise it's not a proper true-to-life Jersey left, but we'll rename it to the Jegsy left, and see how it performs as Bourbon continues to get busier as the episodes go on. And then we just have some commercial line up here. A whole park front comes down now with some path lining against that tram line, where the tram does come up through the park, which is really nice. And then more trees and rocks through there. And then it all ends up being a wonderfully busy transport hub with lots of green space factored into it as well, which is always nice, isn't it? And super busy, which is always what we want to see with these sorts of things, isn't it? So really nice and very satisfying to watch, and hopefully so was the episode. And if you have enjoyed it, guys, those likes, comments and shares below really do go a long way to helping grow the channel. Thank you so much for your support on the CS2 content, indeed the CS1 content as well. And a massive shout out to all the patrons supporting the channel. If you are interested in getting involved in supporting the channel a little further, Instant Gaming and Patreon link down below are the best ways to do it. Get yourself some really cool perks and of course cheap games in return for that. So don't forget to check them out if you are interested. Otherwise, I'm really enjoying Peace and Bourbon together. We'll definitely start getting involved in some row housing next episode. And I also want to get the medical university in this town as well, so expect a kind of a more modular education build coming up pretty soon as well. Maybe next episode we'll turn our attention to the university, because education certainly does need some attention in Egginburgh, especially the elementary schools. So we'll see what we can do with them. Otherwise, please enjoy today's cinematics of Egginburgh's extremely busy transit hub, but I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.